The Learning Process by Kelly Cannon at Walden University, EDUC 6617. The first part of the learning process I will discuss are the learner-centered principles. Created by the American Psychological Association, there are 14 principles that could be used as guidelines by any educator. From the 14 principles, Dr. Patricia Alexander and Karen Murphy narrowed them down to 6 areas of understanding. The 6 areas are knowledge-based, strategic processing, learner motivation, development, and individual differences, situation and context, and student assessment. When an educator implements all 6 areas of understanding, all students have the chance to succeed. In the past, it was popular for the teacher to not be seen as a leader, but one who did what she was told when it came to education. She was given a lesson she was expected to teach or a concept that she needed to create a lesson for. One could argue that this practice is still happening in many educational systems today. However, an effective classroom occurs when the teacher and students create lessons together with the needs of every student's learning process in mind. The 4 C's are the basis for 21st century learning. Critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity provide students with a growth mindset to continue their learning beyond the classroom. It encourages students to experience their learning and to continue to think outside the box. It is most likely that all educators today have heard of Bloom's taxonomy. It was the basis to all of my college education courses. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. The taxonomy approach in education provides teachers with an insight into learning outcomes and curricula and assessment of students. Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal development contains 4 aspects: the pedagogical importance of the learner's individual experience, which is ultimately the child teaches himself; the pedagogical applications of interest, from one interest of the child's to a new interest; the psychological value of play, games are the child's first school of thought; and the link between life and education. Ultimately, only life educates. Pavlov's dog's experiments is based on associative memory. In his experiment, the dogs associated food with ringing of a bell. He proposed this learning process could take place on a broader scale with students' learning processes by focusing on memorization. There is an endless supply of theories on how learning occurs. I have chosen 5 to focus on. The first is the learning style theory. This theory focuses on the fact that children learn in many different ways. The key is to reach each child with whatever style of learning they learn best. The 4 main types of learners are concrete and abstract perceivers and active and reflective processors. Teachers can reach all 4 learning styles by using varieties in their curriculum and instruction, such as experience, reflection, and imagination. Brain and mind learning refers to a natural learning process that happens to all humans through their life experiences. Social learning theory is what happens when a desired behavior is observed through modeling. The multiple intelligences theory focuses on each student's strengths. Similar to the learning style theory, the multiple intelligences theory recognizes that all students learn in different ways. There are 9 multiple intelligences that have been identified: verbal linguistic, logical mathematical, visual spatial, body kinesthetic, musical rhythmic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic, and existential. Teachers who use a variety of teaching strategies can reach each student and help them develop their strengths. There are 2 types of behaviorism: classic and operant. Operant is when a child learns that he will receive a reward after performing the desired behavior. Classic is a natural reflex to something. The important aspect of both is feedback. Through feedback, the child learns to work towards the positive behavior. Brain-based learning is based on the fact that all students learn differently. Therefore, the strategies used to teach students must vary to meet all students' needs. The following 5 strategies are excellent approaches to make this possible. First, set a positive tone from the beginning. Setting a safe, positive environment for students can increase student engagement. Secondly, establish turn and talk time. Sometimes students understand concepts when they come from each other rather than the teacher. Thirdly, incorporate visual elements. Most students are visual learners. Therefore, any visual aids that are used can help reach students in a different way that is easier for them to connect with. Fourthly, breaking learning into chunks. Students can easily understand small chunks of information rather than being overwhelmed by too much information. Lastly, get moving. Physical activity in the form of brain breaks can increase brain activity and function. There are many individual and social factors related to increasing student learning. First, create a trusting environment. Second, build relationship with students and make your classroom a community. Thirdly, be aware of and empathetic to students' emotional needs, individual beliefs, and culture. Fourthly, give the student responsibility for their education. Lastly, facilitate as much as possible. It is more powerful by building strength in students. Today, teachers are being encouraged more and more to include instructional technology in the teaching and learning process. Some of these can be found in the form of blogs, wikis, podcasts, Google Slides, and websites. The list could go on and on. The use of instructional technology adds yet another layer in the learning process to help the teacher reach individual students in their own learning process, allowing teachers to educate students to be successful in their lives and careers.